Hello, everybody. Tracy Mrs. JDog Flanagan with you here today. I'm the co-founder and senior vice president at JDog Brands. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Tactical Treasures podcast sponsored by the JDog Foundation. Our podcast gives the military community a voice in the veteran space to share stories of service, how they continue to make a difference in civilian life, and a tactical treasure they share with me that has shaped their journey in their military career, business, or life. Today, I am honored to speak with Aaron Hudgins, who is a leader who has dedicated over 3 decades to the service of our country and the advocacy of those left behind. Aaron retired as a first sergeant after 26 years of honorable service in the U.S. Army. A veteran of deployments to Bosnia and Iraq, Aaron's career was defined by high-pressure leadership roles, including serving as a U.S. Army sniper, infantry leader, and air assault specialist. His commitment to service extended far beyond the battlefield, as he led critical humanitarian and disaster relief efforts during the Bridge Creek F5 tornado, 9/11, and Hurricanes Katrina and Harvey. Today, Aaron is one of the nation's leading voices in survivor advocacy. Following the loss of his wife, Staff Sergeant Jerry J. Hudgins, a fellow soldier and trailblazer, Aaron was appointed by the Army Chief of Staff to the Survivors Advisory Working Group at the Pentagon. In this role, he works directly on policies to improve benefits for Gold Star and survivor families. For his profound impact, he was awarded the Superior Public Service Medal by the Army Chief of Staff and was recently named the 2025 Oklahoma Veteran Family of the Year. Beyond his advocacy, Aaron is a Travis Manion Foundation mentor and a sought-after speaker on resilience, PTSD, and finding purpose after loss. He holds a degree in organizational leadership from the University of Oklahoma and continues to honor fallen heroes. Hello, Aaron. Welcome to Tactical Treasures podcast. Thank you so much for your service and your late wife's service.
Thank you. I thank you so much for this invitation. I'm been looking forward to this for a while, and I'm a big fan. So this is really cool.
Oh,
So
thank you. Well, I'm excited to have you on and to hear your story. I'd like to ask you though, what inspired you to join the army?
that's a great question because when I got out of high school, I was looking for some kind of direction, and I just didn't have it, and I went with a friend because they wanted to join, and I was just sitting in the back, and uh, he got dequalified for having asthma. And so the recruiter looked over at me and was like, "Why aren't you joining?" And I was like, I don't know why. Why would I want to?" And he's like, "Come on, you know." It went back and forth for about 5 minutes, and then finally he was like, "Do you have asthma?" And I was like, "No, no, I'm good." Convinced me to come in and take the ASVAB. I took it. I barely passed. He actually, and it's funny because he gave me two choices. He goes, either you can kill or grill. And I was
Oh
like,
my
what?
gosh.
He goes, you can either be infantry or you can be a cook. Kill or grill. What's it going to be? I was like, let's go with killing. I mean, I'm not really a. And then so, and he was like,
Okay.
excellent. You'll be a great infantry guy. I was like, okay. And I came home and my mom was completely shocked because I was like, you're not going to believe this, but I signed some papers and it looks like I'm going to be in the army. And she was like, what? So,
Oh no. Oh.
all right. But it was the guard, so it was we're 1 week in a month, 2 weeks out of the year. And it ended up not being that at all. But yeah, I joined the guard, Oklahoma National Guard, right out
Oh
of high school.
wow.
So
Oh, I love that story. I've heard a lot of stories as to how people ended up going into the military, but I'm not exactly sure I heard that one. That's a good one. Oh,
yeah, no regret
um,
because here I am, 6 years later.
yeah, right. Oh my gosh. So is there a particular aspect or moment from your service that stood out as being impactful in a positive way for you?
Some of the best stories was doing so in the National Guard. We have a lot of stateside mobilizations for natural disasters and things that happen. And the very first one that I ever did was the Mayfair tornado in 1999, the F5 that
Oh,
came through and it leveled Moore and Minko, like a whole lot of these towns. And I remember getting the call up, and I was like, I'm a E2, private. I've been in the guard maybe 6 months. I get the
oh
call up, and I'm
wow.
like, this is why I joined. This is my moment. I was so
Mm-hmm.
ecstatic. I sped off to get down there, and they put me on the bus. 30 minutes. I'm down there setting up a checkpoint, and I was I had no idea what I was walking into. And I'm from Arizona originally, so I've never seen what tornadoes do. I've never
Mm-hmm.
seen the disaster that comes with them. And oh my gosh, I saw things there that to this day, I still don't have an explanation for. Like a gun safe that had the door ripped off of it. It's an 800-pound door, and all the shotgun shells are still sitting on the top shelf exactly how the guy left them. But the door was ripped smooth off. And
That's
I
insane.
I saw grass on the side of wood like darts, and I mean just things like that. That to this day I've still never seen that before.
Mm-hmm.
But what really impacted me about that amazing experience is we went into a Brahms to pick up all our meals, and we were going in there, and so the town, there's nowhere else to eat or be because the town's been pretty leveled. And so we come in and we're in uniform, and this lady's walking by. She stops. She goes, "Are you guys here to pick the food up for the?" It was on the counter, and we were like, "Yeah, yeah, it's for the National Guard." And she goes, "Oh," and so when she turned, I want you to imagine an entire restaurant, easily 50, 60 people in there. Everyone stopped what they're doing, stopped what they ate, walked over, picked up all the meals. They wouldn't let us grab them, and walked them to the Humvee and dropped them off. And like, I think I gave out easily 30, 40 hugs. And a lot of grateful people that were just like, thank you so much for dropping everything you're doing to come help our small town. Like, there was crying, there was hugging. It was like an
Mm-hmm.
emotional, like, and for me being, I'm 19 years old, I was like, whoa, this is, but that's like the profound impact it had, and that moment solidified the rest of my career as like I joined the right unit, I joined the right organization because I got to feel that hometown love and the hey, we're in this together. Oklahomans helping Oklahomans, helping them through a rough patch. Man, it had a lasting impact on me. And to this day, I never forget watching like a 4-year old kid grab a styrofoam box and walk it to the Humvee and hand it to us just so he could run back and get another one. And that just, man, to this day, I'll never forget that moment right there, watching an entire room stand up almost in unison and come out and take all our stuff to us. So that was my aha moment of, and that's right when I got in.
Mm.
So it lasted for 26 years.
Wow. What an amazing story.
Oh,
I
absolutely,
love that. That is something else. But, a thankful community, right? Uh, you
absolutely. No,
know, yeah.
there's not enough words, and just the way their actions define them. But I fell in love with Oklahoma. That I was, what? I'm an Oklahoman now. Like, I'm an Okie. I'm proud to call myself one. And every time we did another mission, like yeah, those spoke to me more than my two deployments overseas.
Mm.
Those were good experiences, but helping Americans
Yeah.
through a rough patch like in Katrina in New Orleans or
Hmm.
Hurricane Harvey down in Houston, I no, I'll do that every time. That was, yeah.
Right. Yeah. I'm sure. Very rewarding and awesome service work. It's amazing, Aaron. Thank you for sharing that. So I know your transition was difficult out of the army,
Hmm.
and I'm so sorry for your loss for your wife. I know that had a profound effect on you, the rest of your army career, and your children and your family. If you could just talk to me a little bit about that.
So I want to take just a step back to when she was gone for her. So this was going to be my wife's third deployment. She went to Iraq with the 82nd Airborne right out of high school. She transitions out and comes home from to Oklahoma, joins the Oklahoma National Guard, and then she gets called up to go to Afghanistan again. This time Afghanistan. She deploys, comes back. So this is her third call up. She's gearing up, and being dual military, you have to figure, it's a lot of juggling, and
Of
it was
course, yeah.
it was a lot of juggling because both our schedules are really difficult. And she's got two children. I've got three sons, so we have a big blended family. We got five, and then of course we have dogs, three cats, a couple of hairless rats. I mean, it was a
Oh my goodness.
yeah. So I say all that to say this, man. When she left to start train up down at Fort Bliss, I found myself for the first time ever a single parent stay at home while she deployed. And a lot of times we always think about, when families deploy, that's the husband going off to war and the wife trying to figure out how to hold it all down. The
Right,
roles
yeah.
were completely reversed, and
Wow.
I still have a full time job. I'm a first sergeant, so I still have all my responsibilities as a first sergeant with my stuff. But I have now five kids to manage to get going. And let me tell you, as God is my witness, Scout's honor, I have never gotten my butt kicked more and wore smooth out than being the stay at home parent. My
Wow.
hat's off. I salute every stay at home parent. God bless you. That is the most exhausting, and like I have every day was another tactical like operation that I had to lay out on a long whiteboard of how am I going to get these two kids to school, this one over here to practice, this one back here from church. There was like, and every day for 8 months until she got back, it was 7 days a week. And I remember like looking over going, I just want to hug any stay-at-home spouse, and they don't have to say a word. I get it. The amounts of laundry and food and keeping up with the house and the cars and the animals and the kids and the problems, and I inherited two beautiful teenage daughters. Teenage daughters. I've been raising boys.
Oh, that's a whole nother ball of
We
wax.
could do a show. We could do an episode of just that alone of the things that they sent me to get. That was absolutely hysterical for them, not hysterical for me. I've never been to that lane in the entire time I existed. So I was like, you want me to get what? No. Mm. But, I learned so much about myself trying to manage and juggle. And I really have a greater appreciation for our stay at home spouses. I really do. Like,
Mhm.
I commend them on another level. And they do deserve as much praise as possible because it's a nonstop grind, 7 days
Mhm.
a week. So,
It is. And
so
even and also mill spouses too,
oh yeah,
because
no,
their other person is deployed downrange, and that's a whole nother mental thing.
it is.
Yeah.
So we're battling that. So
Mm.
when she came back, even though she had broken her hip, like part of me was just I was so overwhelmed to see her back
Mm.
because of just the stress level went from here back down. Just having her there, not actually, even though she was like she was in a wheelchair, she couldn't get out. Like just having her there was just enough to be like, oh, like it really helped me kind of like decompress just for even a minute. And so when everything started, like when she found out that this was going, like her mission was coming to an end, the military had already told her, when you come back, we're going to start probably transitioning you out. You're going to get medical. She started to see herself as a burden, and that she's been gone 8 months, but now she's going to now I've got to keep up with her. We're down to a single income home now instead of a two, and she's a star athlete from high school that now is never going to run again. And that played a profound impact on her. And even though I'd ask her all the time, "You good?" And she'd be like, "I'm solid. I'm good. I'm good." And okay, I believe you. You tell me you're good. I believe
Right.
you.
Yeah.
And, on April 29th, it was not only a surprise, but to this day, I don't have an explanation or I've spent the last 7 years trying to decode this moment. And and as a leader, like going back to work and facing my peers and facing other soldiers and facing my commander, and they're not saying it, but you can feel that energy and that shift of like, what did you miss? What else did you miss? How can you be in charge of soldiers or in charge and you missed the most important person in your arsenal, which is your own spouse? And it affected me, and it's still, it's so hard to accept myself as a true leader or a sound NCO when, right underneath my own, I lost someone, and it affects so many things on my decisions and where I was going to go and what direction I should take. And is my military career completely stalled. It went just,
Yeah.
and so, yeah, when I still had 3 more years to get out before I could even retire. So 3 years sitting in an office, just, trying to make heads of it. I, I cannot tell you how much that affected me. And, where do I go? Am I really as good as I think I was? Am I not a sound father? Am I not someone that we can confine in? Because there's no way my wife is a coward or selfish. If I was to accept that narrative, then I would have to accept the fact that I didn't know my own wife, and that's
Mm.
unacceptable. That's no. That's so she never thought of anyone but family first and us, and I never saw any selfish mannerism or trait in her from day one. So
Yeah.
it had a lasting impression of me just trying to figure out what my next day was going to, and if I
Right.
did, it made me second guess almost everything I would make a decision on.
And
So
Aaron, she might have been good until the moment she wasn't.
yeah,
And we all know that that decision can be as easy as a 30-second decision that you can never take back.
yeah,
I mean, so, I appreciate you sharing your story. I know it's hard for you. But we don't know who's listening today. We
sure,
don't know who might hear something and take something away. So I appreciate you being
yeah,
vulnerable and sharing. Hello, viewers and listeners. The JDog Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit whose mission is to prevent veteran suicide and heal veterans' mental health and PTS. 100% of all proceeds goes directly to the organizations we are partnered with. If you go to jdogfoundation.org, you can learn more about our mission, donate, and if you are in need of help, please dial 988. Our motto, saving lives one veteran at a time. Check us out, jdogfoundation.org. I would love to talk about how you've used this tragedy in your life and have turned it into advocacy and mentorship. And so I would love to talk about the journey to kind of what you're doing now. You do a lot of public speaking. You're involved as a mentor and an advocate for the Travis Manion Foundation. How did you finally get there?
So the first experience I got was my SOS coordinator reached out to me, which every survivor gets one assigned to you that just keeps you in the loop of what's going on with policies, things that are going on in your neighborhood, things that are happening, the military side of it. Because most survivors, when they lose their soldier, they lose that identity, and so they don't really have that much of a connection with their units anymore. And the
Hmm.
because as time goes on, people get out, people transition out, and before you know it, within like 4 years, people don't even like the unit doesn't even look like the same unit anymore, and the people
Right.
don't recognize you and they don't know who you are. The leadership's been changed out, so you're not getting the calls anymore. You're not getting invited to the company ball or the unit barbecue because you're a gold star or a next to kin survivor.
Hmm.
It happens quick, and before you know it, like you're just some random person calling, or them like got a random email about some guy. They have no idea who you are. None of them in the unit know who you are. But what happened was I got invited to be on what they call the SOG, which is it's an acronym. It's called a Survivors Advisory Working Group, and it's an official group that it deals directly with the Army Chief of Staff, the Army, the G9, and they're up at DC. They're out of the Pentagon, and you fill out an application. They reached out and they're like, well, you're a perfect fit because you're still in the military. You're a surviving spouse now that has gone through the one of these, and you can really advocate for both sides of the house. And so they really encouraged me to apply. So I did. I got on. You get an official appointment letter, says that I was appointed by General McConville himself, signed, goes on my record. I was blown away. I was like, wow, for an E8 to get a 4-star general, to sign off, it was life changing. And so they're flying me out to DC once every 6 months. I meet with 8 other survivors that have all gone through similar, some combat, some not the same. They all had stories that would just absolutely shatter you to listen to, and some of them you're like, I can't believe that happened on our watch. I'm appalled that that would even happen. Some of the things that they talk about and what happened, and so that event really opened my eyes to the survivor community and what they're dealing with and what are the issues that are on the table,
Hmm.
that need to be addressed, not just from the Army but all the branches. And it was like drinking from a fire hose, because I thought I know a lot. I've been in the Army 20 something years. I could fumble my way through. I was a man out of water completely. And every meeting, I was like, "What is that? What's that mean?" I'm doing research. I'm like, I didn't know that was even an issue. Like I didn't know that was an issue. That's huh. And so going up to DC, and I'm at the Pentagon. And they're like, "Okay, we're going to be talking with the General McConville. He'll be in tomorrow." And I'm like, we're not going to deal with the general. We'll deal with his staff. I'm sure we'll have like like someone that's a representative. Nope. General McConville comes right in there, and he sits down in front of me, and I'm like, I am 3 feet away from a 4-star general, and then there's the sergeant major of the army, and then there's your staff, and I'm like, this is the rock star mentality. Like you see these people on billboards and meetings and pictures. You don't meet them, but to meet them, it really did open my eyes. And that experience for the next 3 years, going every 6 months down to DC, sitting with General McConville, and then there was a change out. McConville retires. I get General George, the current. He's a whole nother individual altogether, but an amazing, amazing guy. And to be sitting in General Quarters One, sitting next to him, having conversation about just life and what's going on in our was it had a profound effect that I wanted to continue this experience of trying to help as many survivors as I could, because now I'm a survivor. um, and that really helped me because when I went looking for organizations, I wanted an organization that dealt with my military side as a veteran and my survivor side as a fallen hero survivor, and that's not an easy thing to find.
No.
It's
Yeah.
either one or the other, or neither, or So the Travis Manion Foundation found me. I didn't even I wasn't looking for him. I got a random email. That's how this all played out.
Wow.
Asking for survivors that want to go on expeditions. So I was like, I'd love to go on an expedition. I don't even know what this is, because they do expeditions for the survivors.
Mm.
And I spent a week in Arizona in Scottsdale at this equine therapy, this beautiful ranch. And that right there solidified my place is in. I have found a new tribe that not only handles my veteran side, it's got my survivor side. So I get the best of both worlds, which is what I needed. I needed both. I couldn't just have my military side. I needed both for me to truly thrive.
Yeah.
And it had an amazing effect. So much so that when I got back, I told my son wants to go. So my son, who has never served, wants to know all about this organization that has got me like, just swooling. And they sent him to Puerto Rico. He goes on an expedition to Puerto Rico. When he came back, that's all she wrote. He was all in. He loved it. He thought the organization. He loved the people. He loved everyone, how they treated him, how they saw things. He loved the fact that they had the same problems and the same feelings and the same. He said it was like talking to someone that had been with us since day one, and they understood our problems, our struggles.
Wow.
TMF does a really good job of bringing in survivor mentors that have already done this too, and they've done the process. They understand the impact, and they envelop you in just truly caring about what you've experienced and what you've gone through. Doesn't matter the branch. They have someone from every branch that understands the process, and that's what got me so advocating for them, because I
Hmm.
was like, man, it's hard to find any organization that has both,
Right.
and that truly tries to put them together and give back to the community and
Right.
use their strengths, because we're all, like veterans, we're looked at as beneficiaries, but we're not looked like leaders like what we were. You know, we
Sure. Yeah.
we get the fact that we get benefits and we get a title that comes with it after you've served, but a lot of us, we were in leadership positions with an unimaginable amount of responsibility, and we took care of people on a level that no one can comprehend except for other veterans. And
Right.
us senior leaders, it has a profound impact on us when we get out, because we're just so it brought me back to my leadership position, because now I'm in charge of other survivors and I'm other veterans, and they're putting you in there and having you in charge of different expeditions and community impact. So yeah, that's exactly why it spoke to me on it checked every block.
Right. Yeah, sounds like it. I was at their website. It's pretty extensive, and I love how it takes care of not only veterans, but, Gold Star families. Like the entire family gets taken care of, which I think is amazing. Now, they have chapters, right? And
Mhm.
you're part of the Oklahoma chapter, is that
Yes, sir.
correct? How do
That
the
is correct.
chapters work?
So the chapters are basically just an extension of TMF themselves. It took so we've had a lot of people that live in Oklahoma that are aware of what the Travis Manion is, the organization, but there was just no one that took the reins and said, "Hey, we'd like to actually put a group together and actually start organizing events and trying to give back to the community." And so when my son and I made the decision, I reached back to Team F and was like, "Okay, how do you make how does a chapter become a chapter?" And
Right.
so they've got a very extensive manual that like they walk you through it. You got to go through a couple of Zoom calls. You have some training that they put you through. So it's not just like oh, you wanted a chapter? Great, here you are. Good luck. No,
Right.
they vet you. One of the things
Hmm.
they look to see, are you truly dedicated and want to do this? So you have to put a couple of operations together and do them so they can see that you're serious about this commitment. And so we had to do a couple of honor projects, which is Memorial Day, and what they call, like what you call community impact, they call them OP legacy operations. So it's just a you do it to honor a fallen hero. So everything we do is to honor somebody that has paid the ultimate sacrifice,
Mm-hmm.
and by doing that, it allows everybody to love like the event. It gives it a like an open table to what do you want to do with has the biggest impact. So it doesn't have to be only about veterans. It can be like we've done one for foster care kids going into foster care. We had bags made for foster care children because when they're taken from their home, whenever that is, a lot of times they leave the house with just what's on their back. That's it. They don't have anything. And some families, it takes them a while to get their stuff to the kid. So they don't have anything that is truly theirs. So we put bags together so that so when the foster care system comes to pick the child up, they hand them a bag that has a blanket, a stuffy, a nightlight, an activity book, something to eat, just something that they can take with them that is truly theirs.
Oh,
And we did that in the honor of a fallen hero, Serena Butcher, who was the very first female Oklahoman killed in combat. And so those are like that is kind of the idea that it doesn't matter what the mission is, as long as it's in the honor of a fallen, then then we look at what the community truly needs. What does the community need right now versus, so we're not just boxing ourselves into a corner with we only help veterans or we only help, which there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. But we want to help anyone that needs it. And
right.
that is something that speaks to me and a lot of the Spartans is we have this open book of where do you want to do, where do you want to make the impact? Do you want to feed the the hungry, or do you want to go clean a lake, or do you want to like what is it that the community's in real need? And that right there to me allows us to not only help the 3% of veterans or the 6% of veterans that make up our entire population. It allows us to help 100%. So we're not just looking at, hey, how do we help just one group? We're like, how can we figure out a way to help everybody that is in need? And that to me is a sale that I haven't found an organization that operates in um, that way. And so that's
Yeah.
why. So
Yeah.
to answer your question, yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I love the organization so much. It's kind of my jam now, and I'm
Yeah.
a big advocate for it.
I see that. Yeah. It's an amazing organization, um, dedicated to Travis Mannion with the famous quote he said, "If not me, then who?" Right?
Yep.
Yeah. I
Yep.
love
He's
it.
got a great backstory.
Yeah.
I love talking about his story, but I also Brandon Looney, who was his roommate.
Hmm.
I'm also a fan of him. He has a great backstory too. So like they they did a good job of putting together an organization that speaks to everybody on all levels.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Aaron, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for sharing everything. Um, but we are the Tactical Treasures podcast, and we've
That's
come to that time where I have to ask you, what is your tactical treasure, Aaron, that you would like to share with us today?
I start with a quote that I've learned to that I've made it my own, and that quote is, I've learned to love the very thing I wish never happened. And that, because where I'm at today, I never saw myself being there at all. It never,
Mm.
my journey was never supposed to take me here, but here I am. And so I always look at it as, that moment, as horrible as it was, has now taken me on a journey that I never thought I'd go on. But it's an amazing journey that I try to share and help other people find their why. Why do we do the things that we do? What drives us to become better people, and then help people find that why, and that helps me solidify my why. So, helping others find their why is the most profound thing for me, and what I have learned from this entire experience, that taken away from the tragedy of losing my wife to helping others find a direction that not only helps them but help somebody else. And so that is my takeaway from my tactical trailer, is finding helping others find their why.
Yeah, I love that. And, sometimes our darkest moments, I like to think that God can still take them and turn them into something wonderful
Yeah,
with time, you know?
absolutely.
So I would like to ask another question before we
Yeah.
wrap up our time here, Aaron. Any advice for your fellow veterans who are struggling, who are thinking about making that terrible decision, and anything that nuggets that you could tell them?
Besides the fact that, and I don't want to say it cliche, is that you matter,
Mm,
you really do, and no matter the how dark you're at, I see them sitting on a hilltop fighting an unknown enemy, just like everyone else.
mhm.
Like we went into combat, came back, or they're doing the same thing, but it's all up here. They're still fighting. They're fighting an enemy that only they can see, but they're on that hilltop. They're not alone. If they feel they're alone, they're not. There's always somebody there that can come in and get in that foxhole with you and get in that fight. Give them one more chance. Call
Mm.
one more time in. Ask for support. Get somebody to get back in there, to get in that fight with you, because a lot of times we don't think we're in this fight by ourselves, but give it one more time, just one more call, one more time before you do it. Have someone, give them the opportunity to earn your trust and earn that moment that they could be in that fight with you. And that's a lot of times we don't give them that chance. We think no one's answering the phone call, no one's going to do it, no one cares. Give it one more, just one more time. Let somebody know that you're in a lot of pain, and that you're needing a quick reaction force, and you're in this fight, and you maybe need a resupply of ammo or whatever metaphor you need to use, and give them that opportunity to give you that ammo that you need to stay in the fight.
It's great advice. Great advice, Aaron. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing everything that you did. And I appreciate your vulnerability. And I appreciate that you took something very painful in your life and you turned it into um, helping other people and surviving yourself and your family thriving. So, what a blessing. Thank you for sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Before you go, can you tell us where people can find and connect with you, and where they can find out more information on the Travis Manion Foundation?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So you can find me in the Facebook, on the old Book of Faces, under the TMF Central Oklahoma chapter, or you could find us on Instagram. Uh, I'll make sure to leave my email, plus our chapter's email. But the TravisManion.com or .org is just an easy click. Just type in TravisManion.com. They got a spreadsheet that you can go to, and it shows all the chapters and where they're at and the points of contact. You can click on them. You can email them directly. Find something that's in your area and just go experience it. Just so you can see what other people are doing and what activities, because you'll be surprised of some of the most amazing ideas that they've come up with to help the community. And even if you just want to get in there and use a rake, like, oh yeah, you want to, you just want to sit in the back and pick up trash. Hey, we'll take that all day too. So we do a lot of stuff with kids, and so that helps a lot of us, get that meaning back. Because when you teach a kid something and you see them grasp it, it is a huge life changing experience. You're like, man, I still got it. I still can teach, and I could teach somebody something so simple, and yet, like I haven't been used like that in so long. So yeah, there's many ways to find us. You can even look up just Aaron Hudgins. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram. We There's a way to find me. I promise.
Okay. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you for that information. We'll be sure to get the word out. Aaron, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for coming on and again being vulnerable and sharing your story. And I thank you for all the lives that I'm sure you've touched and you're continuing to touch with your story of survival. Thank you so
It has been an
much.
honor. It really has. So thank you so much for the invite.
Thank you. Hello, viewers and listeners. We've just wrapped up an amazing conversation with Aaron Hutchins, who is an Army veteran and an advocate and mentor for the Travis Manion Foundation, the Oklahoma chapter. I'd like to tell you about the Travis Manion Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to strengthening our national character. The foundation was inspired by First Lieutenant Travis Manion, a Marine who was killed in Iraq in 2007 while saving his wounded teammates. Before his final deployment, Travis spoke 5 simple words that have since become a movement. If not me, then who? Today, Travis Manion Foundation honors that legacy by empowering veterans and families of fallen heroes to lead the next generation. Through their Character Does Matter mentoring program and various community service initiatives, they provide veterans with a renewed sense of purpose while teaching our youth the value of selfless service. Whether it's through service-based trips or local mentorship, TMF is providing that the character of our nation's heroes lives on in the people they inspire. To learn more, get involved in a project near you, or make a donation, please visit travismanion.org. Again, thank you for tuning in. And don't forget, you can find Tactical Treasures podcast on all your favorite podcast streaming platforms, American Grit, on our website, tacticaltreasurespodcast.com, as well as our dedicated YouTube channel. We are now airing on Reach Across America Radio on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern and Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern for the encore. You can also find Reach Across America Radio on the iHeartRadio app, the Odyssey app, and the TuneIn app. We are also proud to share that our JDog Foundation is a Wreaths Across America sponsorship group. For each $17 Veterans Wreath that you sponsor, $5 goes directly back to the JDog Foundation, whose mission is to prevent veteran suicide and heal veterans' mental health and PTSD. You can donate right now at wreathsacrossamerica.org/JDog. Again, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again on another podcast real soon. Bye-bye now.